I don't know Simone Biles. I really know 3 things about her. I know she's a most incredible athlete, and likely throughout all of human history, no human being has ever had as much control of her physical body as she has. I know that she was separated from her mother at an early age. I know she has ADHD and takes medication for it. And I guess I also know that she's married to an NFL player. But it's the ADHD and the meds that I want to speak on. Because I am an amateur historian of ADHD, its medications, and our relationship with them as a civilization. Check out my book. And Biles is a significant figure actually in the history of ADHD medication, its distribution, and its cultural significance. I'm not implying that her use of medication is the reason for her success. I saw a video of her doing gymnastics recently as a small child, and she was already doing incredible work. It's in her blood. She obviously didn't need ADHD medication to become incredible. And I'm not gonna say directly that Ritalin is Simone Biles' secret weapon. That was clickbait. Rather, as someone who has personally taken meds for years and years and withdrawn from them completely, I would say that it's the dependence on ADHD medication that is her Achilles heel, rather than access to them being an advantage. Let me explain. In 2016, Biles introduced herself on the world stage in Rio, Brazil, when she won gold medals in all-around, team, vault, floor exercises, and she medaled on the balance beam, bronze. 1 second, let me Google something really quick. Can you bring Ritalin into Brazil? Yeah. Then, in 2021, in Tokyo, Japan, in an early preliminary, Biles got the wizzies and withdrew from the entire contest, stating issues with mental health. Quick Google again. Can you bring Ritalin into Japan? No. Okay. Triumphantly in 2024, Biles has returned to the world stage in Paris, France, and claimed 3 gold medals. Can you bring Ritalin to France? Sure. Now, if it isn't obvious, I'm presenting the hypothesis that Biles backed out in Japan because of not having access to her medication. I am in no way making that as a case to present it as certainty. Of course, it's an option, but I gotta recognize the possibility of coincidence and respect Biles' choice to not go public with that information. Causation, correlation fallacy aside, if it was the case that she could not bring Ritalin with her to Tokyo, I would assert that the inability to take her medication would not be a big problem as much as the withdrawal of these medications. Of course, that's a package deal. Withdrawing from these medications can leave you for months, even years, in a deep chemical depression. I survived this withdrawal and I live to tell the tale. To imagine having to experience the withdrawal I went through on a world stage in a different country with all the news media surrounding me, not feeling herself, expected to perform physical puzzles in a 3D space and conjure enough energy to triple axel vault her way through something she had done 10,000 times on Ritalin, now off Ritalin, is intense. That would easily create a personal mental health crisis. There are a handful of articles that discuss whether or not this was the case. They seem to suggest that it was not a lack of medication and that maybe she had an exemption or some kind. There is the option of getting certain exceptions for events like these when it comes to medication, but it's unclear if that was the case in Tokyo. Really, without hearing from Simone herself, it's hard to know if medication was a factor in her backing out, and we'll likely never know. Simone does take Ritalin, not Adderall, which is safer and a less intense drug. It's not as prone to being abused like Adderall is, but it still creates a dependent. And I personally know someone whose life was destroyed by Ritalin. Ritalin was invented by a Swiss man named Leandro Panizon. His wife had low blood pressure, so he gave her some to raise her blood pressure, and she reported that it maximized her tennis game. Here we have one of the very first instances of Ritalin being used in our culture, and it's being remarked to be an athletic performance enhancer. Both the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and the United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, consider Adderall and Ritalin to be performance-enhancing drugs. The NFL, the NBA, and the MLB all have Adderall and Ritalin on their banned substance list. However, a player is allowed to have something called a therapeutic use exemption, which allows them to take these central nervous stimulants on and off the field. And it's probably just a doctor's note that says they have ADHD, which is not hard to find or get. According to NFL cornerback Richard Sherman, half of the league takes Adderall. That's about 850 guys in the NFL taking amphetamines running into each other at full speed for our entertainment. doing journalism. I'm editing that video. Here's an article here that actually says Richard Sherman says I was misquoted. The network, he didn't say half the NFL players using Adderall as a newspaper, but instead he said many players have prescription to use the drug, which is used to treat ADHD, and he said he's never taken it himself. But it says apparently he was banned for taking Adderall, and then the ban was turned over on the appeal, and then after the appeal happened, he quoted that a bunch of players have been prescribed the drug, and that they're taking it for a legitimate reason. And there's a reason it's been prescribed to them. So I don't know, he cleaned that one up. So that's journalism. The league said that Adderall is easily detected, and that his comment to the newspaper was ill-informed, inaccurate, and irresponsible. If the statements were true, we'd be seeing more positive tests and suspensions. More importantly, his comments are irresponsible, ignore serious medical risks, and documented public health, and blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. And I think what this kind of highlights is that the use of Adderall in sports is more or less a secret. People who take Adderall and Ritalin don't usually advertise it. I certainly didn't while I was on it, but now that I'm off it and proud to have departed from it, I have no problem speaking about it. I've yet to see athletes joining Simone in embracing their ADHD and talking about their medication use, but I imagine there must be other athletes who have ADHD who take these stimulants. In fact, Simone was private about her use until someone leaked her paperwork. In a Teen Vogue article titled, Simone Biles responds to drug accusations after Russian hacking. Proof mental health stigma is real. Brittany McNamara reports that the violation of her privacy revealed she had a therapeutic use exemption. Simone went on to Twitter to say that she has ADHD and has taken medication for it since she was a child, and claimed that she believed it was not really a performance-enhancing drug. She has probably been taking medication since her diagnosis as a child, which makes me wonder again about that footage. But anyway, Simone did a great job defending her use, and honestly, I'm curious as to why everyone can't just take Ritalin if they want to without identifying themselves as some kind of mentally ill or learning disabled. But that's a completely different conversation for another day. Comment below if you want to have that conversation. Why are only people who are distracted and impulsive permitted to access this chemical cocktail of cerebral coffee? Cerebral. 3 months after withdrawing from the Tokyo Olympics, Biles became the Chief Impact Officer for a company called Cerebral. What is a Chief Impact Officer? Oh, it's a real thing apparently. It's someone who reports to the CEO and serves as a strategic thought partner with the Chief Strategy Officer, helping to accelerate the fulfillment of the organization's vision and goals. That will show you how detached I am from corporate life. Did you know what a Chief Impact Officer was? Let me know in the comments below. So Biles was more than a spokesperson for this company. She held a strategic position over at Cerebral. Cerebral is one of the first companies to start diagnosing ADHD via telehealth during the COVID panini. They would do video chats online and send your local pharmacy the prescription for you to come pick up the drugs for your brain, your cerebrum, your cerebellum, your cortex, medulla oblongata. Biles, of course, broke off with the company when federal investigators issued a subpoena over its prescribing of controlled substances, and a lot of other stuff went down with this company involving a lot of fraud. A similar thing happened to Dunn ADHD, where they overprescribed Adderall and frauded out millions of people and insurance companies for millions of dollars. Another company who has provided ADHD diagnosis and prescriptions over the phone is called Ahead, shut down as well for difficult to locate reasons, and since then there have been a lot of Temu-style other companies that can somehow, through nurse practitionership and online clinical practice, distribute amphetamines via telehealth. It's crazy. These companies are all attempting to basically pill mill ADHD medications through the modern version of mail order. But that doesn't really have too much to do with Biles, except for that she worked there until they got in trouble, and I don't think anyone is assuming that Simone Biles was part of the trouble. She just might have done the ads and had a fancy title for fun, or maybe some kind of contractual reason to put her on a salaried position, or maybe she was part of the strategic planning of this company. I don't know. I only have so much time. And who am I to even criticize anything about Simone Biles? I'm not my life. Am I to say that she should stop taking the medication that's causing her to be burdened with a heavy neck of gold medals? No, she seems to be doing fine. If it's a part of her life and her life is going well, isn't it part of the success? I don't know. That's the tricky part of the medication's justification for use, is that it can work. It really does work, and it makes you work. Sometimes in my withdrawal brain, I at times tried to justify to myself that Ritalin would be okay instead of Adderall, that the problem with my treatment was that I took Adderall and not Ritalin. And I don't trust that voice at this point, and I don't plan on ever taking Ritalin, but I can see how it's a safer bet and more sustainable and not as controversial to take as a professional athlete. And for example, if I had become a pro skateboarder on Ritalin, I could have seen myself taking it for the entirety of my professional athletic career. I absolutely was 100% a better skateboarder on Adderall. If skateboarding became my career and I alone was pushing the sport further, I would never consider quitting the medication. I would never throw the ring in the volcano. I would justify that what I may be sacrificing by taking these drugs for the majority of my life would be worth it, and I would hope that it wasn't some kind of Faustian deal. Simone Biles offers us inspiration. Her commitment creates industry success, and seeing her do her best inspires others to seek to do their best. When I was taking ADHD medication, I was offering the world a restaurant that had clean dishes and some hand-bound journals and some videos here and there. The stakes were low. So when I did quit, it wasn't a big deal. It was difficult to wash dishes and to make art compared to when I was taking Adderall. If you have a job that you got on Ritalin or Adderall and you stop taking Ritalin or Adderall, you may very well lose that job. Medication didn't make me an Olympic gold medalist because at my core, I'm not an Olympic gold medalist. Simone Biles is an athlete by nature. If Ritalin wasn't a part of it, it wouldn't need to be a part of it, though. This is where it gets tricky. I'm just curious as what you guys think about athletes taking Ritalin and Adderall with or without ADHD. Should it be allowed? Is it a cognitive steroid? What do you guys think about this? Because personally, I know that I was a better athlete on Adderall, 100%. I can't deny it. Gabor Mate describes ADHD as a trauma response. When I read his book, Scattered Minds, I was practically mesmerized by seeing for the first time someone describing ADHD in a way that didn't trigger any opposition in my position. I agreed with him. He talked about the invisible environment that shapes a child's behavior, their parents, their trauma, and their pain. I don't doubt for a second that a challenging childhood couldn't create a perfect psychic substrate for ADHD behaviors to thrive in. In fact, I think a stressful childhood is the #1 contributor to becoming someone who is prone to distractions and impulsivity, aka ADD, ADHD. These people are always in a sympathetic fight, flight, freeze, fawn, whatever response because they feel like they need to survive, and in some cases they are trying to survive because they are. I've been there. Medication can really make that better. Medication can make that manageable instantly. I totally understand that. But ultimately for me, the personal growth lessons I needed the most were beyond my attachment to medication. And I can't say what's right for someone like Simone Biles, and I'm not trying to shame or belittle her achievements by mentioning her use of Ritalin. And I don't know why she bowed out in Japan. I don't know why she got the wizzies, and I feel weird even talking about it because it's her life and she can take the medication she wants. But I think this is an opportunity for a greater dialogue if anyone wants to carry it on with me in the comments. And please know that I'm not trying to downplay her massive achievements. I'm just curious what role those medications play in that success. What could have made her feel off in Japan? I'm just looking at these patterns, these phenomena. And hey, why doesn't the nation of Japan let people bring Ritalin and Adderall in? How come America believes this and France and Brazil will accept this, but Japan refuses it? Oh, because during World War II, much like the rest of the infantry armies on Earth, Japanese soldiers and pilots were taking amphetamines, which is basically Adderall. Like kamikazes, nuclear war, all this stuff is intense. After the war, amphetamine addiction spread throughout the island of Japan like a virus, and Japan ended up passing the Stimulant Control Law in 1951, which banned amphetamines, and Japan stuck to that rule. It's kind of interesting. Japan apparently has an only 1% ADHD rate amongst the population, and we in the United States have an ADHD rate of 4.5. So how do they treat ADHD in Japan? Well, with ATX and guanfacine extended release. What is guanfacine? yeah, I'm getting a little off topic with Japan there. And if you want me to do a video about ADHD in Japan, let me know in the comments. But all that to say, Simone Biles did a great job doing flips and stuff this year, and I'm proud to see someone who presents with ADHD to achieve such greatness with or without medications, and I hope she goes off to accomplish more great things when she finally stops her medication, and I hope she doesn't suffer when she decides to stop her medication, but I hope she thrives and that the medications leave no harm to her body at all, even if she takes them for the entirety of her life. I hope that she gets no negative side effects, because she doesn't deserve them. And that goes for everyone who's trying to get off these medications. I hope that if you watch my videos because you're getting off ADHD medications, that your withdrawal is graceful and it's a learning opportunity, and it's one of the best, it turns out to be one of the best events of your life, because I know for me it was. As much as it was painful, it's made me a better person. So, and leave a thumbs up and stuff. The feedback is valuable to me. If you like these videos, you should definitely subscribe. I almost got 1,000 subscribers. That's pretty exciting. But yeah, let me know what you think about Adderall and Ritalin in sports. Thanks. And if you're still watching this video, you should just go to my Amazon link and buy my book and leave a review about it on Amazon and Goodreads, because I said so.